background checks for marriage. If you visit sheriffsdepartment.net, you'll be able to locate state and county resources available to the public to do background checks for just about anything. And in this video, we're going to go over the processes you can use to do a background check specifically for marriage. And let's pick a state for an example. I'm going to use Maryland. Most states will have a very similar process to this. Your first option is to do a first and last name scan. This is instant. If you don't have a lot of time, this is the quickest way to get an overview of somebody's background. It looks at public records. It looks at criminal records. It looks at some private databases that most people don't even have access to, like cell phones. It looks through social media and some deep web things. So definitely check it out. It gives you that nationwide view too. At the state level, you have access to local resources, and backbone of pretty much any good background check will include court records, recorder's office records, criminal records, driving records, a business lookup or a license lookup depending on what the background check is for, prison/incarceration records, sexual offender registry, and then at the county level you have things like jail records. Also at the county level you can access court records. If some states will give you a statewide check, and if they do not, you have to do that at the county level. So just a heads up there. When it comes to background checks, criminal records are probably the most sought after, and pretty much every single state will give you some type of an option for a background check. These are typically going to be official, where possibly a form will need to be submitted or filled out by even the individual that you're doing the background check on. Sometimes it's anonymous. It just depends on the state. You have an option to do a fingerprint type of background check where it looks through even FBI records. And every state has is kind of similar, but they do offer, certain states offer different variations of a background check, just depending on what you want to do with it. Court records will also give you criminal records and civil records. So anytime somebody gets arrested and they have to go appear in front of a judge, a court record is created. Court records are considered public records. And I'm going to go quickly into court records. And let's look at Maryland here. Maryland has a very simple court structure. You have your lower courts, and then you have your higher level courts. Lower courts would be things like city courts, county courts, and then anything that doesn't get decided in those courts gets pushed up into the Court of Appeals or the Supreme, or possibly even all the way to the Court of Supreme Court at the state level. And each court will deal with different record types or different court cases. So if somebody wants to double check, if somebody wants to look at felony, lower level crimes, civil records, or family specifically, maybe previous divorces or something like that, maybe some matters with family court, whatever it may be. Make sure you're looking at the correct court. Like if I look at Georgia, as you can see, the court system is much more complicated. They have many different categories of courts that specialize in particular things, anything from city level parking ticket, traffic tickets type of thing to probate to superior. So if you are looking for like family court or civil matters, you want to make sure you're looking at the appropriate court. And then once you see, and we broke this down for each state, you can come check it out. Once you see, you probably want to check most of the courts, and a lot of them will share databases, but you do want to, but sometimes they don't share databases, so you want to make sure you're looking at the correct court. And a lot of times you're able to look at these records for free. Typically at least the docket search is done for free, and then if you need more information, if you want to pull up a particular court case and actually look at digital images of a file, sometimes you'll have to submit something online, or at times they have these public terminals. A lot of places, courthouses, have public terminals where you can come in and actually do the research really quickly just right there. So it just depends on the state, and it's going to depend on the court, but that's how that works. Another thing to consider when doing background checks on potential spouses or whatever it may be is checking maybe the sexual offender registry, possibly incarceration records. If somebody claims they have a business, you can look that up. If somebody claims they have some kind of professional license, you can also verify that. Another thing to consider is a lot of these background checks are going to be state specific, so you don't forget about that nationwide aspect of it. People do move around, people do travel, so there could be paperwork. There might be a paperwork trail in multiple states, and the only way to find that out is figuring out where the previous addresses were and doing research specifically in those states, in combination with a nationwide check to make sure nothing is missed. And I'm going to go ahead and drop a link for sheriffsdepartment.net in the description. You can also just type it into your browser. Come on down and see if we can help you with your search.